I saw a Gen Z girl get into a minor fender bender car accident with an older lady, and they both rolled down their window, and the first thing the Gen Z girl says is, honestly, we did not slay this, she said. And I was like, okay, I love you guys. That's the hardest shit I ever heard somebody say after a car accident. Honestly, we did not slay this. Is that what you tell Geico? Is that what you tell insurance? Hey, it's just Geico, what happened? I can tell you what did not happen. We did not slay, mama. Okay, do you want us to send someone? Is the car total? No, the car is total, but the vibes remain immaculate.
So my birthday, I'm just gonna go back. So my birthday, I was angry and I was driving. Everybody knows when you're angry and you're driving, you crash. So I was speeding really hard. I get pulled over, right? The cop gets out of the car, it's a black cop, so immediately I'm like, yeah, about to get a discount. So he walks over, right? He goes, let me see your license registration, please. I panicked and I gave him my Applebee's gift card. He goes, you trying to bribe me with an Applebee's gift card? Get out the car. And when he said that on the inside, I was like, it's my birthday. But on the outside, I just turned 19. I'm trying to be tough in front of my brother. I'm like, I got a car, don't matter to me, cuz. Oh, you gonna put cuffs on me? Okay, you think it's the first time I've been in cuffs? Because it was. I was like, these are so cold. And he goes, what's up with your attitude? And I was like, I ain't got no attitude. But I said it like that. So he starts to put me in the back of the cop car. As he's doing that on the inside, I was like, it's my birthday. But on the outside, I'm like, it's my birthday. And I peed on myself a little bit. It wasn't like a full amount of pee. It was right before the cutoff point. I was like, ooh, that was almost unstoppable. And so I get inside the back of the cop car because he wouldn't let me in the front. And he goes, hey man, what's going on? And I was like, it's my birthday. Everybody forgot. And then he checks my ID, sees it's my birthday, and says, all right, man, get out of here. I was like, are you serious? He goes, yes, I'm serious. Hurry up and get out before I change my mind. And I was like, oh, snap, man, but like I'm in cuffs right now. And he says, oh yeah, my bad, let me get out. Then he gets out, he unlocks the door, he uncuffs me, goes, hey man, just slow down. I was like, thank you so much, officer. I start walking back to the car, hit that little spin move, hey. You know that spin move where you try to wipe all the tears before your brother sees you crying? I did that one. And I get in the car, my brother's like, I already heard you crying. I was like, I don't care, it's my birthday. I'll cry if I want to. Like, you know, you would cry too if it happened to you. And, you know, the cop, he pulled up right next to me. And he rolled down the window and says, hey man, happy birthday. Pulls off. I'm like, wow, this man just stole my Applebee's gift card. The worst birthday ever, man.
I hit a cop car with my car. I don't recommend doing that. I was driving home with my fiance. We were just a few blocks from home. We were passing by this cafe that I go to from time to time. I noticed it peripherally that they were open later than usual. So I turned my head like, oh, they're open later than usual. When I turned back, the words police were getting closer and closer. I rammed into the cop car's bumper, and my fiance, to her credit, didn't say anything, but I could just feel everything she was thinking. I was like, you're right, you're absolutely right about all of it. The cop car, we're at a light, the cop car turns off to a side street. So then I turn to my fiance, like, should we just get the hell out of here? Like, it's like, no, we can't do that. So then I turn and follow the cop and pull up behind him. Now all of a sudden it's like I'm pulling him over. Like, maybe I work for the NYPD now. So then we're just sitting and waiting. Cop finally gets out, ambles over. First thing he says is, bad idea hitting a cop car. I was like, yeah, actually, it wasn't my idea. It just happened. Then he was kind of like pacing around. Like, remember when you were a kid and your parents were almost like searching for the punishment? They were beside themselves. So I'm waiting. Finally, he's like, fuck it, I don't want to deal with this. I was like, that was my solution. Then he goes, you were never here. Which I thought was almost existential. Like, are any of us ever really, truly here? Then he turns and walks back to his car. As he's about to get in, he turns back and says, oh, are you okay? I was like, yeah, we're fine. Are you okay? He's like, yeah. Gets into his car, drives away. I turn to my fiance and say, I don't know what these black folks are complaining about. That could not have been a more pleasant exchange. I felt safe. I felt protected. I felt like my life mattered.
Life is fun, you know. Life is you get a lot of laughs out of life if you approach it the right way. I used to get a lot of laughs when I lived down in Santa Monica. When I needed a good laugh, I'd go to the Venice Beach boardwalk. Oh, the best people watching on the planet. If you've never been there, this place is like a mental institution / flea market. It's the strangest people you've ever seen in your life selling the worst business products imaginable. It's just fascinating to me. There was this guy, this magic stick guy I used to love to go check out. I feel like he'd probably been doing it for 10 years, you know, before I was there. Apparently he'd been doing it a long time. And I love that he would just show up day after day for this crazy business plan of his. He would wear this big black top hat. He had like a black kind of makeup, you know, under his eyes and stuff, and these, you know, long black dreads, little kind of occulty trinkets in it. This whole kind of like black trench coat situation. He had a sign that said "Magic Sticks, $10." And by magic stick, he meant a piece of wood he had found that he had glued to a rock he had found. That was his entire business plan, was just to sell stick rocks. I never saw a single person buy one, but he would just show up day after day, just so committed. And I just thought about how much fun I could have with the little world he created. Like, it's kind of mean, but also how funny would it be if I would have just showed up one day, after he's been doing this for over a decade. I just rent the booth space next to his, and I just wander over there with a bigger black top hat. Black makeup, the dreads, the trinkets, you know, trench coat. I have a sign that says "More magical sticks, $9.99." I got a bunch of bigger sticks glued to bigger rocks. And then I have a bunch of friends line up and just pretend to be customers and buy one after another, and then just watch his mind implode. Just to think for over 10 years he was a penny and a bigger stick away from financial success. So close. Or it could have been more dramatic. I could have showed up with my kids, Kyler and Monroe, you know, when they were younger, like when they're like, you know, 7 and 9 kind of age. You know, show up there and be so excited to buy one of his magic sticks. Like, oh my gosh, we love magic. This is so great. I love that you're doing this. Cannot wait to try these out. This is so fantastic. And just buy a couple magic sticks and then just, you know, take off all happy. And then show up like, I don't know, hour or two later. No kids, just very emotionally upset. Just kind of somberly approaches his booth. Take out a couple little gerbils or small lizards out of my pocket. Set them on the booth in front, just, I'm gonna fix this. You change them back, Warlock! I want my kids back! Oh, just to see the look on his face. What a mixture of emotions. So happy his magic was real. So sad he can't control it. Or if I really wanted to be dramatic, I could have went to like a Hollywood movie studio, got a big wizard suit, look very realistic. You know, have a whole wand and everything, just approach him from afar, you know, real dramatically. You don't know what you dally with here, sorcerer. Leave these realms for a real wizard, Electrico. And right when I say Electrico, a friend I had sneak up behind him, starts to taser him. Leave here! Again, such a mixture of emotions. So happy he's in a wizard duel. So sad he's losing. I'd have to have another friend videotape it, you know? So if the police arrest me for assault, I can show them the tape and they let me go for being pretty clever. Technically that's illegal, but it's pretty funny. You can go. I wish that's how the law worked.
I never dealt with somebody who had like bipolar issues. Have you guys? I never dealt with that before, right? I've dealt with like other shit, like high blood pressure, like. Put that salt down. I know how to do that. I'm trying to live. You know what I mean? I know how to. You know what I mean? Bipolar, I had never dealt with in my life, right? But I'm learning with bipolar, like they got like a weird laugh when they angry, right? Like she would get mad. She's like, ha ha. Right? I'm for real, dog. And I would be in the house. I would be like, hey, you good? She's like, I'm good. I'm like, all right, bet. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, you don't act like no punk. Like, all right, well, maybe she from the hood. I don't know. Right? Then when she got mad, I found out like bipolar people, she got mad. She don't never want to be here, right? When she got mad, she's like, I don't even want to be here right now. And I was like, oh, where you want to go?
But one thing I don't like is a baby on an airplane. I mean, seriously, on my flight here, there was a baby on board that I wanted to murder. Never got the chance, though, because it was sleeping quietly the entire time on the opposite side of the plane.
Didn't realize just how culturally Italian I was, being from Staten Island, until I moved to California and I met actual white people. From places like Utah and whatever the Wyoming is. It was the first time in my life I saw a group of people and I was like, am I white?
My mom told me I couldn't have a girlfriend until I'm 16. I'm so dumb, I listened to her. I remember being 15, some girl approached me. I was like, next year, all right? Same location next year. I didn't get my first kiss until I was 18 years old. What is that? What is that? Y'all don't even know why you're clapping. Someone woo, someone ah, don't ah me. I caught up now. I'm just saying before, but I was 18, first kiss playing Truth or Dare, which is kind of sad, but I counted it. I was like, I don't care, I'm counting this, bruh. 18 years old. She didn't even want to kiss me. They was like, I dare you, Monica, to kiss Preacher. And she was like, and I quit. And I'm like, hold up. I just got dared to suck his toe. We can quit? We don't gotta do it? What do you mean? She was like, you ugly. I was like, you ugly too. I'm trying to help us out. Like you. So this is another reason I was weird, because my mom forgot to talk to me about puberty, all right? She just forgot to talk to me about puberty. You can't forget to talk to your kids about puberty. I just found out, right? Can't let your kids just find out. I was just like in class one day, just sitting there like, yo. I had just watched the movie Aliens. I was like, am I pregnant right now? I want to get pregnant, baby.
But let me offer you some advice that I wish someone had offered me before I had children, because I didn't know this, which is this. When you're traveling with your family, when you have children and you travel with said children through the airport, you can be randomly selected by TSA, who will suddenly decide to start peppering your children with questions to make sure that you are not kidnapping them. How fun's that? And I didn't know this was even a thing until it happened to my little family at Denver International Airport. We're traveling through the airport, ready to go. To give you an idea of my son Malcolm's desire to talk to strangers that day, let me explain to you his outfit. He was wearing headphones, not plugged into anything at all, fingerless gloves, and winter boots on a 95-degree day. I ask you, is that the outfit of a 3-year-old who'd like to dialogue with a stranger? I'd argue not. And yet, nevertheless, We're passing through security, and suddenly a TSA guy is in Malcolm's face. And he's just like, hey, son, what's your name? And Malcolm's like, Malcolm? He goes, okay, good. Is that your brother over there? He goes, yeah. He goes, what's your brother's name? He goes, Ellis. He goes, okay. Are those your parents? And Malcolm goes, I think so. Can you think of a worse answer than I think so? No is actually a better answer. No is like, it's an uncle, it's a godparent, produce some paperwork, get to the bottom of it. But I think so. That's what they've been telling me since they took me from the campsite 4 days ago. And when I say otherwise, they hit me so very hard. So I think so. And we were like, Malcolm, tell that dude where your parents, what are you doing? Tell him, where are your parents? And the guy's like, son, I'm gonna ask you one more time, and this is very important. Are those two your parents? And Malcolm goes, uh-huh. Like clearly under duress. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And then they just let us through because they're TSA and they're inept. TSA is like, hey, what if we took the crew of a Times Square McDonald's, put them in charge of global security? What's everybody think? Good idea or not? We get through the x-ray machine miraculously. I'm retrieving my bag, and this other dad who was in line, he came up to me and he goes, I'm not gonna lie, dude, that made me nervous. I go, made you nervous? If I don't get these two to Reno by Tuesday, I'm out $150K. That's my year, bud. That's my year. The exception to the rule of Malcolm's shyness is women. He likes talking to women. In fact, he'll only talk to women, which I so get. Men are the worst. If I had the option of never talking to a man again my entire life, I would take that option. But men keep talking to me, and it feels rude not to respond, so I have to engage. My son, he's under no such societal constraints. He can talk to whoever he wants to talk to, and he's decided that's only going to be women. So the other day, we were at the park, and we were playing Delivery Guys, because my son will only play working class games. Yeah. Delivery guys, firefighters, EMTs, construction workers. Some lets me know he doesn't respect what I do for a living at all. So we're playing Delivery Guys, and a woman comes running through the park, right where we're playing. She's got earbuds on, she's jogging, she's minding her own business, and my son Malcolm, he just goes, hey, you! Yeah, like real Delivery Guy energy, you know? Just cat calls her, hey, you! And she stops and takes her earbuds out. She's like, yeah, yes? He goes, we're Delivery Guys. She goes, oh, yeah? He goes, yeah, my brother, my dad, me, we're Delivery Guys. And she goes, well, what are you delivering? And he goes, we're on a break. Like, I'm not pretending to know my son's eventual sexual preference, but if he ever decides that it is in fact women, he's already gaslighting at a high school level. Once he figures out that women love it when you tell him to smile more, he's gonna crush. And I can feel a lot of women in the room not liking where that joke went. But I set up the joke by saying men are the worst, and then I ended the joke by giving an example of men being the worst. So I ask you, is it the joke that you don't like, or do you just hate foreshadowing?
My daughter came home and she goes, Dad, all my friends in my friends group have anxiety, but I don't have it. And that's making me anxious. And I was like, awesome, it's airborne. Sweet. Perfect. I didn't know a lot about anxiety before she said that, and I started researching it, and I've come to the conclusion there are two main types of anxiety: real and fake.
Any Chinese people in the crowd? Any Chinese? 中国人吗？你们是中国人吗？你是中国人吗？
I'm from Australia, mate.
Oh, you're from Australia. Okay. 我说中文你会听得懂吗？
一点点。
一点点，哇，挺好。那我跟你说中文，你就跟我说中文，没关系。你父母是哪里的？
中国人。
哦，中国人，中国哪里？
上海。
哦，上海，哇，挺好，哇。
谢谢。
Don't worry, they get uncomfortable. The crowd get uncomfortable because I'm prepared for the future and they are not, so it's difficult. Also, can you please verify that I was actually speaking Chinese? Because I know some people are like, oh my God, I saw the most racist thing yesterday. This white guy was on stage, he was like, any Chinese people? And then he chung-chung-ching this guy at the second table. I was like, fuck, cancel this guy already. Like, oh my God. Cancel him, seriously.
We were walking towards an Asian family. There were 7 of them. None of them were higher than my chest. Now, does that mean I think all Asian people are short? No, of course not. I know Asian people are taller than me. I'm just telling you these are the facts of this particular story. So the grandparents passed us, and then the parents passed us, and then the children passed us. And my son slowed down, and he looked at me, and he goes, do you think Godzilla was just a normal-sized lizard? And my daughter said, isn't that racist? And I said, we will figure that out when I'm done laughing. Because sometimes you just gotta let her buck.
I don't love everything that the Democrats do. I don't. I have notes. I went to the Cheesecake Factory recently. And I sat down for a meal at the Cheesecake Factory. I don't go often, and when I go, I like to enjoy myself. And I opened the menu, and there were calorie counts on the menu at the Cheesecake Factory. And that's a bigger jump scare than anything I've ever seen in any movie. And I know the Republicans didn't do that. That was us. And I guess the idea there is that they're trying to warn us that perhaps the meals at the Cheesecake Factory are not the healthiest meals available. And I think we all realized that when we agreed to eat at a restaurant called the Cheesecake Factory. Factory is the healthiest word in the name of that restaurant.
There's also people out there that review cat food. Here's the kicker. In character as their cat. Like, if you look it up, you can look it up when you're at home, like Fancy Feast website. There's like reviews, and they're like, every morning I go over to my bowl and I'm so excited to eat my Fancy Feast. It's and I assume they're writing it in character as their cat. Otherwise, Fluffy is a weird woman.
And long before my mom had dementia, she had retired from teaching, and she had taken on some interesting retirement hobbies. She had started to screenshot the selfies I would post on Instagram, and then she would print them out and go to Kohl's and buy those 30 photo collage frames and frame my selfies. But I didn't know she was doing this until I visited home one day and I just walked into a museum. Of my narcissism. And my mom crept up behind me. She was like, "Do you love it?" What is this, a haunted house? This is horrifying. I'll never take a selfie again. This is like an intervention.
I love being married. I know that's weird to hear from a male comedian, you know? We're always just like, I'm married, brr. Like you failed. Like, oh no, you found someone to love you, you gross fat sack of trash. That's a failure, really? Were you gonna be surfing the seas of at some point? You creep. I don't think that was gonna happen. I think she saved you from hell. I think that's what happened. When people talk about like the best things about marriage and the worst things about marriage, that's it. Never the in-between. They talk about the worst, which is what? You'll fall out of love with each other, or you're stuck with the same lover your whole life, you know? Oh no. Or, you know, the best, which is you have someone who loves you for the things you hate about yourself. That's amazing. And you have a best friend that you that's cool, you know? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But we don't talk about the awesome little things in between. Like you have someone to mess with the rest of your life. And to get rid of you, they have to involve the law. You're trapped. And I'm not saying do it all the time. Don't, you know, be abusive or every once in a while, do a little razz, right? Here's a free one. Did you guys know that if you're in public and you're holding hands with someone and you say some complete insanity, they're a part of that insanity now? They're on Team Insane. People look at them, they're like, you have sex with this man?
Here's the thing. I love that kid so much. I really do. But at the same time, and I'm 100% sincere when I say this, I also resent her. I really do. Because she's rich. She's a rich kid. And I know it's not right. I know it's a leftover hangover prejudice I had since I was a kid. I grew up really poor, and I was always suspicious of rich people. I didn't get it. I didn't like it. And I just didn't like rich people. I still don't, you know? And I'm rich. I'm rich, you know? I mean, I'm not rich. I pay my taxes, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And when that kid is whining about dumb shit, I'm like, oh, stop it. You're rich. Stop, you know, you have central air. Do you understand? Are you hot? Push that button, you'll cool down. Are you cold? Push that button, you heat up. You have a teepee in your playroom that's not your bedroom. Can you conceive of how rich you're sitting there eating an organic banana that your mother made me go to 3 places in the rain to get you an organic banana? Like that matters. It's the biggest scam in the world. It's bullshit. Anybody can throw an organic sticker on anything. Nobody does their due diligence. It's all. Also, are you eating the peel? All right, then who gives a Why do I have to pay a 500% markup for an organic banana? You're not gonna eat. And okay, so I'm sorry. Let me get this straight. So, our water is contaminated, our air is polluted, our homes are slowly trying to kill us. But yeah, an organic banana, that'll set everything straight. Good. Hey, you know what? I didn't have anything organic until I was 40, and that was by accident, and I'm fine. All right. So seriously, quit your whining.
I know a big thing a lot of people are looking for is how to get out of jury duty. I figured out what works for me. Just be myself. Just be honest. I got called in for jury duty years ago down in Los Angeles, and I was frustrated because I had a bunch of tour dates. I was going to miss them. You know, the trial would have been long, so I sent in a little letter asking to be dismissed, and they didn't care. And they made me come in there, so I'm pretty irritated when I get there. I'm worried about getting stuck on this long, trial. Had nothing to worry about. Turns out all I had to do was just, be myself, honestly answer their questions. And they wanted nothing to do with me. When I got there, I figured out you can ask for another form to be dismissed. And the last question on that form is super direct. It just says, do you think you would make a fair juror? And I was just honest, and I wrote, no. I'm a comic. I get paid to make quick judgments and stick to them. And that's probably what I'm going to do in your court. Which is kind of true. I kind of trust my gut. And I thought that would get me dismissed. No, it didn't. I get stuck in a little jury selection pool. Now the defense attorney is asking me questions in front of the defendant, which is always awkward that he's in the room. We're just talking about him like he's not there. And the judge told us this guy had just served, 4 years for the attempted murder. He's just been released for the attempted murder of a rival gang member. Now he's being charged with murdering a different rival gang member. So in my head, I'm like, great, I'm in a room with somebody, definitely getting better at murder. And I thought that because when I saw him, I thought, yeah, he did it. For sure, that's a murderer right there. I thought he was guilty the second I saw him. I still do to this day. I'll tell you why. He had a lot of gang tattoos covering about half his face. Face, that's a commitment. To have gang tattoos. Not just tattoos, gang tattoos. Probably half. Half his face covered in gang tattoos. And look, I do realize having gang tattoos all over your face does not make you a murderer. Unless you're charged with murder. Then it absolutely probably does. The defense attorney, he read my answer to that last question about, making quick judgments. And I wrote that as a comic, so I think he thought I was joking. And he goes, have you made any judgments here so far? And I was not joking, and I go, yeah. I think he did it. It was so uncomfortable, I had to point at him as he stared back at me. With his tattooed murder face, probably memorizing features. And he says, you can't know that. You've heard literally no evidence. And I just said, look at his face. Everybody thinks he did it. And when I said that, I heard some snickering from the other potential jurors. I looked over, I counted at least 2 little sneaky thumbs up. They wanted to show their support, but not get in trouble with the judge. I had a hot crowd, I was killing in the courtroom. I wanted to put on a good show. He says if the police, or if the prosecution doesn't provide enough evidence to prove him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, you have to find him not guilty. That's his words, you have to. And I just said, no, I don't. I don't have to. I make bad decisions all the time. I could make one here. And he said that would be illegal, and I got nervous. Because I watch a lot of crime shows, but I still don't fully understand what contempt of court means. But I felt like I was treading in that direction. And then I thought, well, you've come this far, let's write it out. I was like, I don't know, maybe it is illegal. You're a lawyer. You know the law better than I do. Well, I'll tell you this. Just like bad decisions, I do illegal stuff all the time, and I usually get away with it. I was texting about how much I didn't want to be here the whole time I drove here today, and no one pulled me over, did they? And he just shook his head, talked to the judge, and 2 minutes later, I was walking to my car, a free man. The truth had set me free.
The only way I found out that we were not as wealthy as I thought was the first time I went over to a slightly richer family's house for Thanksgiving, and we all sat on the same kind of chair. I was blown away. I was like, you've got 11 of this one chair type? Are you secretly a duke of some sort? Like every holiday meal in my house would be like, Ivan, go get the computer chair for Grandma. I'm dragging it down the hall. I wanted the computer chair. My mom's yelling out of the kitchen, no chance. You are sharing the piano bench with your brother. And you know it. We didn't have a piano, by the way, it's just the bench. My uncle's at the end of the table sitting on a yoga ball. Got a hole in it nobody can find, so he's slowly sinking for the entire meal. And I was like, I don't think we're as rich as I thought. So this was a problem, of course, when it came to buying a diamond ring. I didn't know anything about it. I knew I had to go to a jewelry store. I knew that I was going to interact with a commission salesperson at that store, which I was nervous about because I'm uncomfortable around commission salespeople. I'm very easily bamboozled by their tricks. I'm sure you can all tell this from my general vibe. Anybody watching this that works in sales, as soon as I walked up here, thought to themselves, this guy buys extended warranties. I know what I look like. I don't exactly know the kind of energy I give off on a first impression. I do know that it means if I go to any type of ethnic restaurant, it is a 100% guarantee that I will be cautioned about spice. It's not easy getting a medium with this face. Yeah, I'll have a medium. No, you won't. Not here, you won't. You had our medium? I doubt it. Guy looked like you got a medium yesterday. We had to call an ambulance. So you can have a mild and a milk. There's a lot of things I wish I knew going into this jewelry store. Number one thing I wish I knew about buying an engagement ring is you don't get to take the ring home from the store that day. Whoops, wish I knew that. They gotta make it the right size. So I just drove to the mall, maxed out my credit card, and then drove home with nothing. Like, gee, I sure hope they call. They did call. I got lucky, I guess. I go back to pick up the ring. This is where it gets weird again. I show up, I was like, hi, my name's Ivan. He said my ring was ready. And the guy goes, oh yeah, okay. Then he goes in the back, he comes out. He's got the ring in a tiny Ziploc bag, like it was evidence in a murder. And he tried to hand it to me like that. I didn't even accept it. And he goes, oh, do you need a box? Yeah. Who's proposing without the box? That's the whole thing. How smooth of a guy do you think I am that I'm gonna kneel down and just dangle that out there like, babe! You wanna stay together till we're dead? They wrote my name on here in pen. Could be your name.
Yeah, man, I used to get bullied a lot because I didn't, like I said, I didn't cuss. They thought I was a snitch. They was like, what kind of person, you don't, there's no adults here. You can cuss now. And I'm like, nah, man, it's bad. I used to get bullied. Anybody here get bullied? All right, nice. 7 of y'all, the rest of y'all bullies? All right, got it. I used to get bullied a lot. I never got beat up though, because if you can beat me up, I'm not dumb. I'm not gonna fight you. So I used to get punked out as a kid all the time. Kids would be like, I'll knock you out. And I'm like, I agree. Unless there was people around, you couldn't punk me out if there was people around. One time there was a kid named Rodney. Any Rodneys here? I hate you. So this kid waited till the teacher left the classroom. Right? We all know teachers leave the classroom, students gotta act up. This man took a high school book from the other side of the classroom, threw the book at the back of my head. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm gonna act like I didn't notice that. There's some kid behind me was like, oh snap, he just threw a book at your head. Like I actually didn't notice that. So I had to get up out my desk like, who just threw a book at my head? And Rodney was like, I did it. And I was like, since nobody wants to admit it, I'ma let it slide right now. And Rodney was confused. He was like, no, I was the one who just said that I threw the book at your head. I said, oh, word, it was you, Rodney? Do it again. Then he did it again. Just like I requested, right? Yeah. I love books thrown in my head. Then he got in my face. I said, get out my face, Rodney. And he goes, or what? And I said, or Mufasa with a beard in 10th grade, because that's who he sounded like. You deliberately disobeyed me. That's what he sounded like. I told him, I was like, listen, Rodney, I'm gonna give you to the count to 147. And you gonna find out or what? And you don't wanna find out or what? I'm gonna say it one more time, I'm not gonna stop. He was like, do it. I said, oh, word. Want me to do it? Cool, say less. 1.5. 2. Dang it. Guess I gotta start again. Hopefully I finish before our teacher, Miss Lisa, come back. Before Miss Lisa come back. Come back, Lisa. She never came back. You just kept throwing books in my head, but I don't care, man, because my life is great. I'm doing my second special, and honestly, I heard he's in jail right now. That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's right, baby. They locked him up, threw the book at him. So I don't care what's going on.
When he and I got together, we had that conversation about labels, because I felt ready to be called boyfriend and girlfriend, and he goes, you know, being in my 40s, I feel like I'm a little old to be called somebody's boyfriend, but if you call me your man friend, sounds like I'm not allowed near playgrounds. I was like, all right, well, what are you gonna call me? And he goes, I'll just be like, this is my lady. And I was like, well, we're not at a Renaissance fair. So no. Also, I can't use the equivalent of that. I can't be like, Mom, Dad, I'd like you to meet my lord. And he's also a comedian. My ex-husband was actually a comedian too. I can't stop right. No, I'm just telling you. My love life is a Chipotle. Just keep the eating and all under one roof. It's very convenient, very farm to table, you know. They're right there. And I wasn't much of a jealous girlfriend in my 20s, but then some switch flipped in my 30s. And now when I see somebody hit on the person I'm with, I just feel myself anamorph into the cast of Jersey Shore. I am ready to brawl. And he does get hit on. When he walks on stage, women whistle at him. And at comedy clubs, there's usually a security guard in the back to kick people out in case they heckle. So at his shows, I've just started to stand next to the security guard. And if I see a woman laughing too hard at one of his jokes, I just walk up and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. He's my favorite comedian. Well, he's my lord. Scoot, beat it. I feel like most people assume I'm exaggerating during that joke, but if you follow me online, you'll know I posted a video a few months ago of a woman who sat in the front row of one of my shows, and after I told that joke, she goes, your boyfriend is my favorite comedian. We've seen him like 8 times. And I was like, lady, did you not just hear that this is when I go snooky on somebody? What are you doing? And she doubled down. She's like, he's so cute. He's so hot. And he responds to my Instagram comments. And that's when I took out my hoop earrings. All the men in the crowd were looking around like, Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. It's like, yeah, time to fuck around and find out, madam. Get up here. I don't actually worry about my boyfriend cheating on me. I feel like men's bodies start to really turn on them in their 40s. He has to wake up every 2 hours in the night to pee. And when I see him in the morning with bags under his eyes, I hug him and I go, babe, I'm sorry you didn't sleep well. And then I think, you're too exhausted to cheat on me. You're not getting enough REM to pull off 2 relationships. I like you slow like this. Can catch you if I need to. Get back here. But now the second I see him start to reach for melatonin, I'm like, the f*** are you resting up for, huh? You stay sleepy. I don't usually mind our age gap, but there is that new filter on TikTok where couples are posting pictures together, and then a filter goes across the screen, and it shows you what you'll look like together in 50 years. Like it ages you. So I did that with a picture of me and my boyfriend, and when the filter went across the screen, it just made him disappear. It was just me holding an urn. I was like, what? No, please. And my boyfriend was like, I want to see the picture. I was like, oh, my phone died. And so did you. What am I gonna do? He does hate that he looks older than me. He's been trying to get me to look older faster. I think he wants to like microwave my face. On my birthday, as a prank, he hid all of my expensive skin creams, and when I opened my bathroom cupboard, there was just a pack of cigarettes. A tanning bed coupon. Well, be careful what you wish for. You're gonna wake up next to Mick Jagger. I have been telling my single friends that they should date somebody older than them. It's the best. They got their lives together. They're financially secure. My boyfriend has a lake cabin. You think I give a shit that he has a fake hip? I don't.
So I know a lot of you saw me get 3rd place on America's Got Talent. Thank you. America's Got Talent is an amazing show to be part of. It is definitely a little weird because it's the largest talent show in the world. But it's like comedy versus whatever, right? Like, do you like one-legged unicyclists? How about 2 dogs in a duffel bag? Doesn't make any sense, this show. And I don't mind getting 3rd place. That's actually great. You know, I'm touring all over, and, well, I'm here tonight. Well, because this is what 3rd gets you. Yeah, f*** you, Hollywood. I'm going to Greenwood Village. Yeah. Vegas can suck it too. I'd rather be here any damn day. Well, I live here. It's great, you know. Again, 3rd place is amazing, but the thing is, me getting 3rd place just proves once again that Americans have no idea how to vote. Yeah. Every chance you get, you f*** it up, man. Oh, well, this guy seems like a real dumbass, huh? That's my guy, yeah. America's Got Talent, though, is they want to like get you to say crazy things in these interviews, so they'll be goating me like, so Josh, do you think that you're funnier than a little girl that can sing Pavarotti? I sure hope so. I know I could hip check her in the hallway, and I never wanted to beat up kids more in my life. Little talented, get out of here. I will say this about America's Got Talent. It's very inclusive to the disabled community. Yeah. I mean, some people call it exploitation, but that's... No, it is very inclusive show. Like, you know, I have cerebral palsy, and there's amazing acts like Cody Lee. He's blind and autistic. Man, he's amazing. Such an amazing talent. And then, like, it just all walks of life, like ballerinas with no arms, and like all the way down to magicians. I'm not sure what spectrum that is, but they're definitely on it. Again, I don't mind getting third place, but do you understand how humiliating it is to lose to a magician? I've never been more embarrassed in my whole life, I'm telling you.
We were at a restaurant. We were at a vegetarian restaurant. Lot of people. I didn't know all of them. And I did. We're there, the group, and I made the mistake of casually mentioning I was not vegetarian. And this one dude, most people are cool. One dude, what? You'll eat a steak? Yeah. Oh, but you don't want to watch them murder the cow. Nailed it. I love my brother. I don't want to watch my parents. You don't have to drag everything back to the point where it's awful. Everything is awful eventually. So I know a couple from back home, back east. The husband did not get vaccinated. The wife did get vaccinated. The husband got COVID. The wife did not get COVID. Do you know why? Because the husband was standing in front of the wife when the wind blew the COVID at them. You can be wrong. It's okay. When did that become illegal? You can make a mistake. You don't lose time off of your life. I was at a yard sale, not to brag. Yeah, I'm a big shot. I go to yard sales. No, we're at a yard sale. And there was this stack of old People magazines. People magazines that were old. Not Old People magazine. Not like Matlock Watcher. Denture Enthusiast. And my favorite, Extremely Legal. And there was a People magazine from 1986. And the cover story was, "The most respected man in America. Reader's poll." You know who it was? Bill Cosby. Reagan came in second. True. We made a mistake. We didn't know. He was the most respected man in America. And then he went to prison. And then they let him out. I think they were afraid he was going to commit suafrazzle-frizzles I went to high school in the 1980s. Every guy in my graduating class had a mullet. Seemed like a good idea at the time. You look in my yearbook now, it looks like I went to high school with a lesbian separatist militia. One day we'll be like that about vaping. Seemed like a good idea. The great taste of steam. And the ultimate example of we didn't know. Michael Jackson. We didn't know. And he didn't give us any signs. Who would have thought that a glow-in-the-dark skeleton who dressed like Napoleon and lived by himself in an abandoned amusement park with other people's children and a feral chimp would have such a creepy dark side? So I was in the airport the other day, and I see this really sweet sight. I see a woman, she's walking with her little boy, and the little boy is walking with his little dog. And it was just like, boop, boop, boop. It was so sweet. And the only thing that was interesting about it to me was that the woman was covered in tattoos, just completely sleeved on both arms, huge plate across her back. And I understand that's normal now. That's culture. I'm just glad it wasn't culture when I was that little boy. Just thinking about the tats my mom would have gotten. Pack of merits and an astrology magazine. Big Gothic font across her chest. Can I have 5 goddamn minutes to myself, please? And don't think I'm not gonna tell your father what you did when he gets home from work. Although God knows when that's gonna be. Because it's Thursday night and he got his paycheck, so he's down at the bar with his friends, buying everybody rounds like we got all the money in the world, and then he's gonna come home and to me that we're broke, like I haven't seen a $20 bill since Johnson was the president. I'm sorry, Mrs. Gould, we're all out of back. Well, find somebody else, I'm still angry.
Now, I don't want to be controversial, but I actually think that sports are a treacherous place for little girls. You know, like, I played volleyball against OJ's daughter growing up. Chill, I'm still alive. No, I did. I played volleyball against OJ's daughter growing up after he got out of jail the first time. For murder. It was crazy. He came to like all the games for 2 years after. And I'll tell you what, it was wild being 10 years old and seeing him on the sidelines. Because sometimes after I would score, I'd just look over at him and be like, wow, we're both killers.
My entourage, my grandma and her friends, yeah, they're in their 90s, dude. You don't feel old around them. Like when I turned 40, I had a panic attack. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it, I'm 40. Around them, they're like, what? What? You're just a child. You're still a child. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still a child. But I feel bad for them because they don't have that in their life. Like when they turn 90, they don't have anybody making them feel better. Like they don't have a friend that's like 150 to tell them that, you know what I mean? When they're like, I can't believe it. I am 90. They don't have a 150-year-old friend like,
So this happened to me. I was driving by my middle school,
And this was a memory from 6th grade where my 6th grade teacher, she was our Spanish teacher, and she would like make the white kids change their first names to Hispanic names. What was that? Does it help you learn? It's like, okay, so I'm a Jose now? I don't understand. I'm going through puberty. I have enough of an identity crisis as it is. But my best friend Jeff, he didn't play ball. On his name tag, he wrote Mr. Goodbar. Like the candy bar. And here's the memory. My teacher sees it and she lost her mind and she goes, "You can't call yourself Mr. Goodbar!" And he goes, "Why not?" And she goes, "'Cause Mr. Goodbar is a porn star!" And I'm like, there's no way I'm remembering that correctly. So I looked it up. And it turns out Mr. Goodbar was a very famous porn star in the 80s. But we didn't know that because we were 11 years old. Senorita Pregunta. If I may, one pregunta. Como se dice too horny to teach? How do you say that?
And so I have like 4 old dude male comic friends who I swear to God are nice enough guys. But they have recently said to me that you can't even flirt anymore, man. You can't even flirt. You talk to a woman, she thinks you're harassing her. And I have this to say. Are you sure you're flirting? Because I've never flirted in my life. I am married, but not because of any interpersonal skills, right? I'm married because of online dating. Online dating is the last bastion of you can go somewhere and look at each other and both of you go, well, I would make out with that. Would you make out with this? And then you move forward from there. And that's why I'm married. Prior to internet dating, I had 2 ways of hitting on guys, and one of them was stone cold sober. If I liked a guy, I would stand next to him for years. Absolutely never successful. Second way, I'd get liquored up. I'd go to the bar. I'd walk up to any promising dude and go, "This needs a tune-up. You want in?" Neither one of those is flirting. One of them is harassment. Right here. How do we know? How do we know? Because of how the men would respond. That's how we know. Almost all of them said, "Ew, no." And then some of them said, "Sure?" We then proceeded to have what can only be called consensual but regrettable sex. And then I looked up the definition of flirting. Flirting is harassment. That's the definition. It's either successful harassment or unsuccessful harassment. The best definition of flirting I read was this one: an interaction with another person wherein you make the other person feel good about themselves. Ooh. Who's doing that? And then I realized who's doing that, and it's my dad. My father is an aluminum siding salesman, though vinyl is final, steel is for real. Still selling LFTBD, Milwaukee, windows, doors, anything you need, roofing. But I recently found out that he hit on one of my best friends, Maria Bamford, at my wedding. Now, in his defense, at my wedding, Maria Bamford was a tiny 35-year-old blonde woman, which is his favorite kind of person. But she told me this, and I was like, "I'm so sorry." And she said, "Don't be sorry. He didn't touch me. He didn't even say anything weird. I just got the impression that he thought I was pretty." I was like, "That's that crazy definition of flirting. How did he do it?" She goes, "I have no idea." So, the last time I was home, I had dinner with my dad, and then I had breakfast with my dad. And at breakfast, I said, "You hit on Maria Bamford using some weird skill. What was it?" He was like, "It's a sales technique, Jackie. It's called the post-close warm-up. I've been trying to teach all you kids how to do it since you were born." Is anyone listening to me? He said, I hit on the waitress. We went out to dinner last night. We hit on the waitress last night using the post-close warm-up. You were there. And I was like, I remember you hitting on the waitress, Dad. I also remember it not being successful. And he goes, it's not always going to be successful. It's a waitress. That is a hostage situation. She keeps going away. You can't build any kind of momentum, but you got to practice on someone. By the way, going to dinner with your 84-year-old father in Milwaukee, we're talking Outback, 4:30. Okay. The waitress came to the table. My father looked at the waitress and said, you are very good looking. You look very familiar. Are you an actress? You are very good looking. You look very familiar. Are you an actress? And she said, no, I'm a waitress. What would you like to drink? He got the coffee. She goes away. She comes back. My dad goes, you just seem so familiar to me. I feel a connection with you. Maybe we've met before. And she goes, maybe. I meet a lot of people. What would you like to eat? He got the steak. She goes away. She comes back at the end of the meal. My father goes, well, it's been very nice meeting you. I hope I see you around again. And she goes, maybe. Here's the bill. Now, there are 3 beats to this thing. The first beat you say in a non-threatening general way, well played. Nice work. Second beat, you say, I feel a connection with you. I'm kind of sorry we've never met before. Third beat, my dad's like, very important. Third beat, you gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. You give it a shot. You say, well, it's been very nice meeting you. I hope I see you around again. If she's interested, she will talk more to you. You will start another round, and eventually, you will sell that woman windows. I love my father a great deal. And if you were to look at him objectively, actually, I don't recommend that. I recommend you look at him subjectively through the love in my eyes because he's very smart. He's very good with money. He loves talking to people. Actually, like 3 weeks ago, he calls me up and he's like, so I'm watching TV and at the commercial, there's an opportunity to get a free $100 square pillow. I was like, yeah? He goes, yeah. So I called him up and I was like, I'd like my free square pillow. And he said, well, give us your information. I did. I hung up. Moments later, guy calls back, different guy, to sell me a $6,000 electric bed. And I was like, yeah, that's what that's for, Dad. He's like, I know. I talked to him for like 90 minutes. And it was great, $6,000 electric bed. Talked him down to $3,600. And then he finally said, you know, you give me $100 over the phone and then send me $100 a month. We'll bring the bed over to your apartment. And I said, you know, I'm 84. I'm going in tomorrow for heart surgery. If I live, I'll call you back. Click. So he's like, the guy was a pretty good salesman. I think I saved like 3 old people having to talk to that guy. He's very good at a lot of different things. Like he's my brother Russ, who lives in Milwaukee, hangs out with him all the time. He's like, sometimes Dad will tell me that if I get a certain stock in like a week and a half, I can turn it around and make like 10 grand. And I remember the first time he told me that, I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, you should. Don't bother though. And my brother Russ is like, why wouldn't I? No, I want to make 10,000. Why wouldn't I do that? He's like, well, there's not really fun in that. It's because you could make $250,000 if you invest in this other stock. And some sort of mousetrappy kind of Rube Goldberg thing happened, where like a swan came by and rolling a bowling ball. You could make like $250,000. And my brother Russ goes, I think I'm just gonna do the $10,000 thing, Dad. And my dad's like, it's boring, but okay. So he's done it like 6 times, and he has like a Scrooge McDuck pile of money. And I was like, hey, Russ, you got 5 siblings over here. When Dad tells you something like that, why don't you call the rest of us? And my brother Russ goes, why don't you call your dad more often? He's not wrong. I did call my dad not long ago, and I was talking to him, and I said, I was just making conversation. And I said, I turned down a gig. And he goes, you just turned it down. And I said, yeah, didn't want to do it, Dad. And he goes, what was the first thing I taught you? And I was mad because I didn't like his tone of voice. And so I said, I don't know, pick up other people's change. And he became very angry since he's never said that. He said, no, the first thing I taught you all was never say no without a number. And I was like, that does sound familiar. What the heck does it mean? He goes, you don't say no. You say, I'd love to do that. I'm going to need, and then you pick a giant number. And I was like, 17 grand. He's like, that's a good number. He's like, odd number, strong. He's like, I would love to do that. I'm going to need $17,000. And then they say, oh my gosh, we don't have $17,000. And then you say back, well, thank you so much for thinking of me. If your budget ever goes up, keep me in mind. But know that my prices are always rising, so you can turn it down in perpetuity. And I was like, that's the greatest thing in the world. I'm totally going to do that. And I tried to do it, and I did it wrong. I asked for $2,000, and I got it. So I called my dad, and I said, never say no without a number didn't work, Dad. And he goes, yeah, every experience is a learning experience. What'd you ask for? And I said, $2 grand. He said, now, you know what you learned? Everyone has $2 grand. Yes, and now I have $2 grand, but I have to go to Montana in February. My dad is very much an old school capitalist, right? He thinks that there are tools on the table. You either use them or they get used against you. Actually, in his case, there's a third option. He is bored and he uses them on your behalf. It is a lot like trying to iron something poorly in front of your mother, and then she takes the iron and does it for you. That's what happened. My dad lives in what he calls an old people apartment building, and I was like, Dad, you're 84. What's old to you? And he goes, dead. Dead is old. Any day of the week, you can get a free DVD player in this building. And, he says, okay, so I'm walking by the common area, and inside the common area, there's an old guy, like 94, 95 years old. He had just gotten out of the hospital. He had just had surgery, and he has Medicare. He has secondary insurance, but he was kind of freaking out. He was almost crying because he had gotten 2 more bills, one from the hospital, one from the surgeon, for more money for like 30 grand, 35 grand, and he was really upset. My dad pauses, and he goes, can you believe people think they got to pay hospital bills? And I was like, Dad, they're bills. People pay bills. And he's like, not a hospital. You die on a hospital money. That's a win right there. You send them $5 a month. You're trying. They can't do anything. Can't put a lien on anything or garnish your wages. And if that hospital gets any kind of federal funding, they have to do a certain amount of sliding fee scale billing. They don't want to give you the paperwork, but eventually, I'm like, pardon me, Mr. Incredible, while I take notes and tell several hundred people in Minnesota. You ever see The Incredibles? The most heroic moment of The Incredibles was when that guy finds that paperwork for that old lady. And the rest of the movie, quite nice. But that movie, heroic. Okay. My dad says, I can't handle it. So I go in and I tell the guy, I'm like, get the bills, get your checkbook, we'll come into my apartment, we'll take care of this. So they go back into my dad's apartment, and then my dad gets to call the hospital billing. Fun! It's his favorite thing. So he calls the hospital billing, and he's talking to this woman. He's like, I'm talking to this woman, and I was like, so my buddy owes you $17,000. I'm sitting next to him. You're never gonna see this money. And the hospital billing lady's like, but he was in the hospital. And my dad's like, you've already been paid twice. Medicare, secondary insurance, you're triple dipping. I'm sitting right next to him. He's not going to make it. He's barely sitting up. He was in the hospital just a minute ago. Did you know that? The woman goes, he's not going to make it? Well, could he give us like $600 over the phone with a routing number and then we'll write it off? And my dad's like, yeah, we could totally do that. So they give him a routing number and they hang up. And my dad goes, now we're going to go talk to the surgeon. He's right here in Milwaukee. I'll drive. Lincoln Town Car, 99. They get into the car at around 4:30 in the afternoon on a Thursday. They drive to the surgeon's office. And my dad goes into the surgeon's office. He goes up to the receptionist and says, my buddy owes you 15 grand. He's here. He's got his checkbook. We'd love to talk to the surgeon. The receptionist is like, please come and sit down. So it's 4 to 5 on a Thursday. And my dad is like, starts in with the surgeon. He's like, yeah, you're never going to see this money. Look at this guy. He can barely sit up. He just had surgery. And the surgeon's like, but I did the surgery. He's like, you're triple dipping. You're never going to see this money. Surgeon lasted almost an hour 15. Finally said, give me $200. Get the heck out of my office. So they write the check. And they're driving home. And my dad goes, so we're driving home. And I say to the old guy, let's stop at McDonald's and get a senior coffee. You could buy me a senior coffee. Get this, guy would not buy me a senior coffee. 59-cent senior coffee, guy wouldn't do it. And I was like, Dad, why would that guy want to spend another heartbeat with you? You just spent 5 hours telling anyone who would listen that he was a dead person. He's like, yeah, but I just saved him like 30 grand. And I was like, did you do it for the coffee? And he's like, yeah. I don't need to get paid a lot, I just need something. Anyway. My father he's a good guy. When I had breakfast with him, he said, you know, your Uncle Johnny's son Jimmy has the dream job. And I was like, yeah? You know, I'm on TV sometimes, Dad. What's the dream job? And he goes, he drives a cement truck. I was like, wait, that's the dream job? And he goes, yeah, you know the truck that spins? He gets to drive that truck. I was like, yeah, that's the dream job? He said, yeah, he gets to drive up into buildings and pour cement. I'm like, wait, driving a cement truck is the dream job? And my dad goes, it's the truck that spins, Jackie. So inside of my very sophisticated 84-year-old father is a toddler who would desperately like to drive a concrete mixer. I have been corrected.